In our last journey, we explored the life and career of Earl Greasy Neal, the only man to win championships in both Major League Baseball and the National Football League. Now, we'll take a step forward, looking at the legacy of Robert Cal Hubbard, the only man in both the National Baseball and Pro Football Halls of Fame. Cal showed a diverse set of skills that took him from gridiron star to revered umpire. Cal Hubbard got his start in sports as a standout athlete during the early days of American football. Throughout his time in college, he played under head coach and idol Alvin Bo McMillan, who himself had a noteworthy collegiate career. At small programs like Centenary and Geneva colleges, Hubbard was twice selected as an All-American. It took him 6 years to graduate, but once he did, the NFL called his name. He inked a contract with the New York Football Giants in 1927 for $150 a game. Cal helped turn the Giants' defense from good to great, recording 10 shutouts in 13 games, only allowing 20 points the entire year. The season peaked with an NFL championship title, the franchise's first. Many credit Hub with pioneering what we know today as the linebacker position. He used his amazing speed from behind the defensive line to track down ball carriers in a time where most tackles generally stuck to their interior position. Hubbard played both sides of the ball, rarely missing a snap. Following a less successful 1928 campaign, Cal Hubbard, a Keedysville, Missouri native living in the Big Apple, expressed his discontent with metropolitan life. He requested a trade to Green Bay, threatening to retire otherwise. The deal was successful, with Cal joining Curly Lambeau's Packers in a much more comfortable environment. They were a match made in heaven, winning it all in each of their first 3 seasons together. Hub sported an imposing physical structure, standing about 6'4", anywhere from 250 to 270 pounds, both well above average at the time. He had an almost Jekyll and Hyde type dynamic on and off the field. On the field, he played with a brutal, intimidating style, known to enjoy laying out the opposition with bone-crushing hits. Off the field, he was known to be kind and generous, always down to hang out and talk ball. During his time in Green Bay, Cal spent the off-seasons umpiring minor league baseball. He was hired immediately thanks to his quiet confidence and encyclopedic knowledge of the game. For the next 8 springs and summers, Hubbard gained vital experience as an arbiter. After spending 1934 away from professional football to serve as line coach at Texas A&M, Cal Hubbard returned for 1 more season with the Packers. That offseason, he was hired by the American League to call Major League Baseball games, marking a new chapter in his sporting career. Hub was a tremendous judge of balls and strikes thanks to his extraordinary 2010 vision. The 2 most important things to him as an umpire were discipline and ensuring that rules were always being followed. He played his final football games back in New York with the G-Men later that year, retiring after his teammate, halfback Les Red Corzine, suffered a gruesome leg injury. At 36, following 9 seasons in which he won 4 world titles and earned 4 All-Pro first-team selections, Hub closed the door on his football career. He went down as one of the best to ever do it, his greatest contribution to the game being the groundwork he laid for the linebacker position. Big Cal was revered by many of the greats, from George Halas to Mel Hein to his hero, Bo McMillan. Following Hubbard's retirement, focus shifted solely to baseball and umpiring. Only 3 seasons into his big league tenure, Cal Hubbard was selected to work the 1938 World Series between the Yankees and the Cubs. It was clear how highly regarded he was as an arbiter, not even half a decade into his new occupation. Cal had the honor of being behind the plate for Game 4, where the Bronx Bombers completed the sweep with an 8-3 triumph. It also happened to be Lou Gehrig's final Fall Classic appearance. Hubbard got to call several more iconic contests across his 16-year stint as American League umpire. After the 1938 affair, he made his Midsummer Classic debut 1 year later, behind the plate for the American League's 3-1 win. There was no shortage of talent sharing the field, the likes of Joe DiMaggio, Mel Ott, and Bob Feller. Hubbard returned to the grandest stage in 1942, having an unprecedented view of Stan Musial and the Cardinals' 4-1 series win over the Yankees. Cal's name was called to work the 1944 All-Star Game, a dominant 7-1 dub for the National League. Hubbard always made sure to stay cool and keep things light when he could, with control of the contest always his top priority. With over a decade of expertise, Cal did what he could to help younger umpires and make sure they tried to earn the same respect and praise that he did. It got to a point where he was nearly even more famous as an umpire than he was as a football star. His next October shift came 2 years later, calling a tight 7-game set between St. Louis and Boston. The Cards were victorious courtesy of Eno Slaughter's mad dash, where he scored the winning run from first on a Harry Walker double in the 8th inning of Game 7. Cal Hubbard's final taste of primetime baseball came in 1949, beginning with the Midsummer Classic. The American League came out on top by a score of 11-7 behind plenty of offense. Joltin' Joe laced 2 hits, driving in 3. The contest featured Cleveland's Larry Doby and Brooklyn's Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, and Don Newcomb as the first African-American All-Stars. Hub worked the regular season finale between the Yankees and Red Sox, who were knotted up at the top of the American League leaderboard. The game was so important that it had 6 umpires assigned to it. Both teams rallied late, but it was the Bronx Bombers who came out on top, claiming the AL pennant and advancing to the World Series. Despite the loss, Sox catcher Bertie Tebbetts gave Hubbard his flowers for calling a good game, a display of respect he often received from those around the sport. Cal's final fall classic between the Yankees and Brooklyn Dodgers would be the birthplace of the mightiest dynasty in baseball history, with New York winning their first of 5 consecutive World Series titles. In the 9th inning of the final game, the lights turned on at Ebbets Field, making it the first postseason contest to be finished under artificial light. The first scheduled Fall Classic night game wouldn't be until 1971. Quite a historic way to finish your time on the grandest stage. On September 28, 1951, one of the final games of the season, Big Cal called balls and strikes for Yankees veteran Allie Reynolds' no-hitter against the Red Sox. It was his second no-no in a span of 3 months. That would be the final highlight of Hub's time as an umpire, as nightmares struck just a few months later. On a cold December morning, Cal and his buddies went out on a hunting trip, something they did quite often. As they were shooting, a small shotgun pellet from one of his partners went haywire, finding its way into Hubbard's eye. It caused him to lose all depth perception, forever altering his vision and effectively ending his umpiring career. When all hope seemed lost, he received a phone call. On the other end was Will Harridge, president of the American League. He offered Cal Hubbard a position as assistant to Tom Connolly, the man who oversaw all league umpires. Of course, he accepted, keeping his career in baseball alive. He took over as supervisor in 1954 following Connolly's retirement. Hub was frequently on the road, touring AL ballparks to observe and assist his umpires. They loved Cal, finding him very helpful and often viewing him as a role model. He helped devise the modern-day 4-man umpiring crew for all regular season fixtures. Hubbard served on the Major League Rules Committee, a perfect role for a man who dedicated most of his life to enforcing the laws of sport and protecting their integrity. In the midst of Cal Hubbard's time as a baseball executive, the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced its inaugural class of enshrinees, which consisted of 17 players and executives that made profound impacts on the growth and success of American football. Cal was a headliner, and the enshrinement marked the highest achievement of his life to that point. Hubbard later promoted Emmett Ashford to the American League after 14 seasons in the minors, making him the first African-American umpire in MLB. 3 years later, approaching age 70, Cal Hubbard retired from baseball after 16 years as an umpire and 18 years as an executive. He'd wrapped up a sports career like no other. Another hall came calling in 1976, this time the National Baseball Hall of Fame. The Veterans Committee elected Big Cal to Cooperstown, making him only the 5th umpire in its history to receive induction. As to where players are judged on their statistics and accolades, Hub made it based on respect and reverence, beyond his sublime control of the ballgame. He remains the only man inducted in both the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the National Baseball Hall of Fame. A truly unique accomplishment. Imagine T.J. Watt, a 4-time All-Pro linebacker 9 seasons into his NFL career, called it quits and began pursuing an umpiring gig. It's unfathomable. Cal Hubbard's career path was one of a kind, something we'll never see again. He deserves to be remembered beyond a trivia question. Hub was so much more, a good man that left a lasting impression on everyone he came across. The character he developed in sports and beyond took him to great heights. Cal Hubbard's legacy will not be forgotten, kept alive by expeditions like these. This has been the Baseball Time Machine. Thanks for traveling with us.